Look at the Kanu situation, for instance. It says a lot about what has happened to us. When is a poor man who is in need of urgent judicial relief, you won't hear a thing. Nobody is offering anything. He might be there for the next 5 years without his case ever seeing the light of day. But look at how many injunctions fly all over the place. One is the high and mighty, the powerful and the rich that are involved, even when it's their petty squabbles. So when what should be the last hope of the common man has become as hopeless as our own judiciary has obviously become, then it becomes alarming and we start talking about the judiciary. But which part? Even me, I have cases in the system. I went to court knowing I won't get justice. Just for the record, just so that people will not say, what did you do about it? That's how hopeless our judiciary has become. Only the rich can get any vestige of justice within the system. And the powerful, they went out to protest against hunger. You had somebody like Wike, governments all over the place, even the ones in Lagos State, they rushed all over the place, went to the court, to go and get injunction against people looking to protest. They used the judiciary to handcuff citizens, quote and unquote, who presume to demand the right to peaceful protest. To make the matter worse, the state went ahead and charged peaceful protesters for treason. You want to criminalize the right of protest? In the judiciary as they have, I have lost hope completely in the judiciary. That's the honest to God truth.
Tó ara ò ní tán lé alára o, a tún ti gbé mi ìdè gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìṣe tiwa. Èyí tí mo wá gbédè yìí ọ̀rọ̀ tó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ láwọn agbègbè àti láwọn ìpínlẹ̀ kọ̀ọ̀kan ni. Bó bá ti yá yín àròyé ẹnu tèmi kọ́ lẹ fẹ́ gbọ́, ẹ já lọ gbọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu àwọn tó ní ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ yìí. Bàbá wa padà dé ká tẹ̀síwájú lórí ètò ó ti yá.
We are as a people quite fond of doing what Yorubas would call a máa ń fi ẹ̀tẹ̀ sílẹ̀ pálapàlapa. We ignore the leprosy and embark on ringworm curing exercises. It is not arguable that the Nigerian judiciary is in serious need, very urgent need of a turnaround. But when you look at it almost like it is only our judiciary and by curing that problem, we would have resolved each and every one of our problems, it would be rather simplistic for anyone to make such pronouncements. But it is critical that the foundation of any state, which is the rule of law, must be strengthened by ensuring that fit and proper persons are the ones to be found in the judicial system. That would, of course, demand that the entire process of appointment and selection of judicial officers must be revisited. It cannot continue to be a place for prebendal expression of power and largesse. It cannot be a place where, because you are the CJ, your sons and daughter-in-laws, cousins, uncle, goats, qualified or not qualified, all of a sudden becomes qualified for judicial appointment. It cannot be a place that where you reward people who have been loyal to you, regardless of whether their loyalty is backed by patriotism to the country itself. It cannot just be a reward for the good old boys and girls who have served the system, which is what it has essentially been reduced to. And when you look at the end product, which should be the dispensation of justice, and you see that there is little or no justice available to anyone within the country, not even the rich and mighty and powerful any longer, because what you now find are cacophonies of noises issuing forth from different courts, some type of coordinate jurisdiction saying different things. Look at the Kanu situation, for instance. It says a lot about what has happened to us. When is a poor man who is in need of urgent judicial relief, you won't hear a thing. Nobody is offering anything. He might be there for the next 5 years without his case ever seeing the light of day. But look at how many injunctions fly all over the place. Once is the high and mighty, the powerful and the rich that are involved, even when it's their petty squabbles. But so when we're talking about judicial reform, we must understand clearly that the judiciary is but one out of the many aspects of our country that has more or less collapsed. It's only reflective of everything else. It's reflective of our educational system. It's reflective of everything about our country has come to the critical point where we must look at it honestly and stop lying to ourselves about giant of Africa and all the many lies that we tell ourselves to cover the truth of the destruction, wanton destruction of our country by those who have claimed to rule it. So, yes, we need urgent judicial reforms, but it goes beyond just looking at the judiciary. It's easier to despair when we look at our case, but yes, the judiciary needs urgent reform. It's not just about the human resource, even structural. There are urgent needs for serious structural reform in the judiciary. There is need to fund it properly. There is need to be deliberate about dispensing justice and not just appearing to be paying lip service to. How do you explain the way it is? Look at the number of people awaiting trials in our courts, and we claim to have a judicial system. It's a disgrace.
In your own view, which is the more compelling problem of the judiciary? Is it about the rules that needs to change, the regulations, or the ethical question?
Look, Yorubas will say, Onlamukun, ẹ̀rù ẹ wọ́, olórí lẹ̀ ń wò ẹ wò sàlẹ̀. So you say to the crippled man with the load on his head, oh, your load is lopsided. And he responds, you will call it lopsided because you're focused on the load on my head without looking at the crookedness of my feet. Let's be clear about something. There are sufficient rules in our books that should have stopped the retired Chief Justice of Nigeria from appointing members of his families as judicial officers. The Judicial Code of Conduct was sufficient, and you wouldn't ever have heard of any such thing before Nigeria began its speedy descent into the abyss of impunity. So when you hear me saying that corruption is not our problem in Nigeria, it is impunity, I will link it to the issue of whether it's about ethics or whether it's about a paucity of laws. We have enough laws in our books. We have enough rules in our books that should prevent the egregious abuses that we see on a daily basis that has debased our judicial system and rendered it completely unfit for purpose. There are more than enough laws and rules. So this is not about the paucity of written guidance on what should be done or not done by persons within the system. It is about a complete disregard for law. We don't even pretend that the laws matter any longer. Corruption is when the system says something should be done in a particular order or form, and then somebody is giving undue pecuniary benefit, and they then circumvent the system by speeding it up or doing something, maybe qualifying somebody who shouldn't qualify. That is corruption. But when you see a situation where people simply walk to the answer without caring anything for the process, that is what has happened to us. The same way they do wuru to the answer in answering university exam questions, promoting people within the system, it is the same thing they are doing in the judiciary. So even in judicial pronouncements now, you now see ever more ridiculous, obscene, and silly pronouncements issuing forth because there are simply no longer any regard had to common sense, what should be. Look, we have departed from the path of sense. That is why you have so many abominations flying up and down the place. It's about who has the power. Once they have the power, they don't care about consequence. They care nothing about it. So this is no longer, our case has moved beyond whether if we were talking about ethics, who is going to enforce the ethics? Who will enforce it? In the absence of a societal decision to walk away from this ruinous path that we all appear to have embraced as a collective. Because you would imagine that if the judiciary went mad like ours appear to have gone crazy, then maybe the religious orders, whether that be Muslim or Christian, would even have something to say to speak to the complete absence of justice, manifest and complete absence of justice from our system. But which one of them have you heard saying anything? Who has said a word? So it's not just about the judiciary, it's just that it is easier to point at the judiciary because if you heard the rumbling of thunder, it's easy for you to say rain is coming. So when what should be the last hope of the common man has become as hopeless as our own judiciary has obviously become, then it becomes alarming and we start talking about the judiciary. But which part of our lives as Nigerians really in truth encourages any hope? We all need to actually look at ourselves and tell ourselves the truth that what we have done to ourselves, our children, is not sustainable. We've destroyed this country, and if we don't call ourselves back, it will be beyond redemption very soon. I'm a lawyer. I was trained as one. I would even go as far as to sometimes argue that perhaps I was born one. But here is the thing. Even me, I have cases in the system. I went to court knowing I won't get justice. Just for the record, just so that people will not say, what did you do about it? That's how hopeless our judiciary has become. Only the rich can get any vestige of justice within the system. Only the rich and the powerful. The judicial system has become a tool for the oppression of the weak. People went out to protest. I'm sorry, I need to make this point. People went out to protest against hunger. They went out to protest against hunger. You had somebody like Wike, governments all over the place, even the ones in Lagos State, they rushed all over the place, went to the court, to go and get injunction against people looking to protest. They used the judiciary to handcuff citizens, quote and unquote, who presume to demand the right to peaceful protest. The judiciary was the one, they used judges to issue pronouncements. To make the matter worse, the state went ahead and charged peaceful protesters for treason. Treason. You want to criminalize the right of protest? Treason. Hungry people came out. You are selling them daily and you are criminalizing protest. And the judiciary has become complicit in the oppression and suppression of the Nigerian people. So if the people lose hope in the judiciary as they have, I have lost hope completely in the judiciary. That's the honest to God truth. If the people lose hope in the judiciary, what is left?
tó ẹ mà káàbọ̀ o gbogbo èèyàn olólùfẹ́ wa nínú ilé tẹ̀ ń gbádùn àwọn ètò wa ó dẹ̀ dá mi lójú pé èyí tẹ́ wò yìí ẹ ti rí kókó gbámúnú ẹ̀ ẹ má jẹ́ kí n ṣe wàhálà jù nítorí pé èmi mọ̀ pé èèyàn ọlọ́gbọ́n olóye gbajúmọ̀ èèyàn lẹ́yìn tẹ̀ wà nílé tẹ̀ ń wo àwọn ètò wa ẹ ṣáà máa bá wa ṣàsọwọ́ bá a ṣe mú wá fún yín lẹ́lẹ́yẹ̀yọ títí wá dìgbà míì táwọn ìjọba àfojúrin lórí ìkànnì Wo TV pẹ̀lú àkọ́tún ètò gbáǹkọ́gbì míì ẹ ti mọ̀ mí kí n má wulẹ̀ dárúkọ ara mi mọ́ èmi ń lọ mò ń padà bọ̀ ẹ̀yin náà ẹ má kó lórí ìkànnì Wo TV àmọ́ ẹ má bá mi like ẹ máa share kẹ́dẹ̀ máa subscribe títí wá dìgbà yẹn ń kọ́ ire o.